I think that every person who works in a creative industry wants to have their work seen by as many people as possible. It's the payoff for all that time and effort that's went into a project. And for me, this day was a real milestone in my career. I'm in Edinburgh today to watch the film that I shot for Bonnie and Wild over the past 3 or 4 months, been shown on the big cinema screen at St Andrew's Square. So in this behind the scenes film, I'm going to show you how this became this. I'm on my way to shoot something very special. This is something that was a collaborative effort in putting together. The plan is I'm staying in a hotel tonight in Tyndrum, and then tomorrow morning I'm meeting one of the staff members who are going to take me down to the shoot location first thing. So the reason I'm staying in a hotel tonight, anyone who watches this will know that any excuse to go camping for me, but yesterday morning I had a bit of a mishap with a knife and I've had to get some stitches in my hand. So I thought I'm not going to make this more difficult for myself than I need to be, so I'll check into a hotel. And I'm very excited to see the surroundings and what all of this is going to look like. I've arrived at Glencoe, I've checked into my hotel, and I'm now looking for a spot where I can put this sign. So this sign is going to glow with this like intense white neon quality to it. So what I want to do is I want to find somewhere where there is a spit of land that comes out where I can place the sign, and then I can jump across the water and shoot across the water, so hopefully we get this beautiful reflection. I'm kind of meandering down towards some of the water here, and I've got to bear in mind that the sign is fairly heavy, and I'm going to be doing this at like 5 o'clock in the morning, so I need to be, I've got a head torch and stuff, so I need to be aware of ground obstructions. When I envisaged this film, this was the ideal weather conditions for it. I saw it being dark and atmospheric and having almost an end of the world feeling to it, because I suppose when you're marketing Scotland, it's always marketed, you know, tartan, shortbread tin, you know, that sort of stuff, but it's a rich and plentiful land, but it is also dark, mysterious, steeped in history and mythology, and I really wanted to lean into that. So hopefully this spot here will be a great place to shoot. I just need to stay alert as far as the weather's concerned. I also need to stay alert at that time in the morning for trip hazards, so I don't end up clean in the drink. I was driving back towards the hotel, and then I spotted this other bit that may work even better. There is just a bit more of a bog here, however the payoff for the shot, it might be worth the risk. So that island in the middle there, if I could get the sign on top of that, that would be amazing. The issue is, am I going to be able to do it in the dark by myself? It is tricky. So I made it onto the island. I'm not sold on it. I think it would be an amazing view. However, I don't know whether it's possible to do it on my own and get it up here. it would probably just be pushing it a wee bit too much. It's a much shorter walk from the car, but it's across a lot of tricky terrain. I'll need to judge it in the morning. A lot of it's to do with the weather. If it's pissing in the morning, we need to go back to the drawing board. But I think that I need a reflection shot. So I think the best shot I've seen so far is the one from the first location I was at. This would be like an incredible hero shot. And I think I'm going to need to have a think about it. I don't know. I could make life very difficult for myself here, and it doesn't pay off. Yeah, it just weighs quite a bit, but it would be beautiful. Fuck it, I'm going to do it. I don't know who I'm kidding. No, I'm doing it. I'm slightly concerned that the weather is closing in and is going to continue to close in. However, we carry on. I've done a site recce and I kind of picked out where I'm going to shoot till first thing tomorrow morning. Yeah, so I'm going to go and grab some dinner and I'll take my notebook with me and hopefully things lighten up a wee bit. It's 10 to 5 in the morning. I have made my way up onto the step at Glencoe. I'm waiting just for a wee bit more light and then I'm going to start getting stuff into position. So the shots that I'm looking for this morning are the sign with the reflection of the water. That there is number one. I scouted out locations yesterday, so I know exactly where I'm going. I've got the head torch there on that, so I can find exactly where it is that I'm going to head, because the visibility right now is not fantastic, but maybe in about 15 minutes or something I'll be able to see a bit clearer. There is literally nobody around. It is so still. And there is something about coming out at this time of the morning to shoot where you get a real sense of how empty Scotland is and how wild it is. There is nobody here. I'm sitting in complete silence. I've not seen a car since I left. I can start to see the outline of mountains and I can see where the water is very, very faintly. But it is absolutely beautiful and so still and so quiet. Anyway, I've got my trusty head torch, the cameras and all that, they're all good to go. So I'm just waiting for a wee bit more light. It's starting to come over the hill there, but over there it's still pretty dark. That's where I'm going to be shooting. So we'll see how we got on. I'm looking forward to seeing how this will look. I'm a bit scared, to be honest, because it's just taking the kit down there in the dark. You don't know what you're standing on, but as I said, head torch, and I've got a lamp behind me and stuff, so it should be cool. It should be cool.
A very short window of time to shoot here. To balance the exposure, I had to wait until the ambient light was bright enough to see the surroundings, but not too light that it took away from the impact of the sign. In this time frame, I had to shoot photographs, video and behind the scenes content, which is why planning the shots beforehand was essential. Here are a few of my favourite images.
I just wanted to let you know.
So that's the sun just come up and it has just revealed the landscape, and this low-lying fog over everything, it looks otherworldly. And actually, just in behind me here, it's a big rainbow just appeared. It is absolutely spectacular. So I'm going to just take 10-15 minutes, take a few just pictures for myself, and get back to it. Get back to the hotel, and I think that's the rain just coming on as well actually. Get back to the hotel and get cleaned up, because I'm going to go and meet a chap called Duncan, who's going to take me down to where I'm staying tonight. But I think as far as the shoot has went this morning, I think it all went very well, considering that I didn't really know what I was getting into, apart from the fact that it was kind of pitch black when I got here. But I didn't know how bright or how dull the sign was going to be, so it was all about balancing that exposure. But I think it looks incredible. So I'm just looking forward to shooting it again tonight.
I met Duncan at the King's House Hotel in Glencoe. He then took me down to where I would be staying for the next 2 days, and it did not disappoint. It was stunningly beautiful. I would spend the following days nestled between the mountains, with only the noise of the wind and river. As all the shooting would take place at dawn and dusk, I took the opportunity to prep my kit, explore and get a plan in place.
I've kind of picked my location on the waterfall. I've had to sort of like secure it all in with stones and stuff, and I've deliberately used kind of bluish stones so that they don't stick out as much, because that white light is going to be so powerful. I didn't want any sort of pinks and oranges and all that sort of stuff getting picked up. So anyway, you can maybe see it. What the plan is when the light drops around, I'm going to nip over, turn the light on. I'll do photographs, video and drone from here. Then I'm going to pick up, run all the way around and do photographs and video from the other side. Anyway, I'm looking forward to getting this done and dusted. I'm just, like I said, I'm just waiting for this light to drop down, but we'll see how we get on. It shouldn't be too much longer, maybe another 40 minutes or something.
As the morning shoot had looked foggy and desolate, I decided to give this more of a punchy feel. I invested a lot of energy and time into carrying the sign up from the house across the sharp rocks to perch it above the rushing water, hoping that when daylight faded that I would be able to capture not only the sign looking triumphant in the space, but that some of the fall off from the light would highlight the texture of the water. Thankfully, the whole setup worked incredibly, and it rounded off a solid first day of shooting. The light from the sign amplified the contours of the rock, giving the whole image a lot more contrast. In the edit, I leaned into this and stripped the majority of the colour out of the images, so what was left had a cold and unforgiving feel to it.
So today's been eventful. It started off at 5:30, 6 o'clock this morning, crashing my drone into that mountain. which then meant that I had to traverse it to try and find the thing. Eventually, after about an hour or so, I managed to find it. It landed upside down for some reason. No clue what happened, but it was unharmed. The rest of the day has been a kind of recce for tonight. So tonight will be potentially the last time that I get the sign out. I went all the way down to the loch that's at the very bottom here, and there is a nice bay with some mountains in behind it. So my thoughts are going down, getting the sign just in front of the water, and just shooting that last wee bit there. Potentially, depending on how this goes tonight, I might do something before I leave tomorrow. I'm very mindful of the fact that there's been a lot of water with the sign. Now that is partly because of the beautiful reflections you get from the sign on the water, but maybe something in a woodland might work better. Anyway, that's been that. My plan was to shoot more sort of behind the scenes stuff today, but it was fairly boring. I was filming and shooting some of the kind of the flowers and the trees just for some texture to add to the film. And then just over my shoulder here, there's a gang, believe that is a collective term, of Highland cows. And I've been trying to get this one shot where the cow is on top of the ridge with the mountain in behind it. You'll probably see it now. Yeah, so I've been trying to get that photograph of the cow on the ridge, and I've just not been able to time it properly, and I would love to have been able to film it, but I literally looked out the window and saw it sitting there and grabbed my stuff and ran out. So apart from that, the weather's kind of dulled down a wee bit this afternoon. It started off absolutely glorious this morning. However, it is what it is. Actually, when it's like this, it might be better for when I'm filming with a light. So I'm just about to get my stuff ready and head down the road there. It's about a half an hour drive down a single track road, but hopefully it will be worth it.
That evening, I made my way down the winding road to Loch Etive. A challenge throughout this project was keeping the sign level with the horizon, so my original plan of placing the sign on the beach just wasn't feasible. So I decided to build a small wall in the water so that the sign would be as level as possible. When the wall was built and I switched on the sign, it attracted a bit of attention, and this chap wandered over to see what I was up to. We spoke for about an hour about the local area, travelling in Scotland, and how important it is to get out and enjoy what is on our doorstep. For this selection of images, I felt that pushing into those rich pink and purple tones was the way to go, as the previous two shoots had such a cold feel.
So that's me just finished up in Glencoe. It's now time to head back to Perthshire. It's been amazing being here and spending some proper time here. I've driven through Glencoe numerous times, but to be able to spend time and shoot individual areas with a bit more care and attention has been superb. We've captured waterfalls, mountains, lochs. So what we need now is some woodland. So I'm here with my pal Joe. who has stupidly agreed to come and lug this big sign about in the woods with me. This will be the last kind of landscapey thing that we're going to shoot before we take the sign up into the eaves of Edinburgh and photograph it glowing over the city at dawn. So what we're looking for is a wee bit where, because ideally what I want to do is put it in like a clearing so that we can do a pan with the camera from left to right or right to left and have a tree, like have the trees obstructing it, you know. I quite fancy once the light drops a wee bit and that's glowing, I want to put up a couple of LED lamps to try and like highlight some trees. Yeah, that might be too much clearing. Yeah. This is going to look, I swear to God, people are going to think this is like an alien spacecraft that's landed, I'm telling you. And also, ideally, right, we want to not see the base of it. Do you know what I mean? Oh yeah. Look at the strength of that boy. That's a man that's ran a marathon. But do you mean like, rather than me thinking of the place and then going and finding it? Yep. Employing a remote viewer. To visualise it, so tell you where you need to be. Oh, tell me about it, because I was thinking I would say to the remote viewer, here, Willie, whatever his name is, here, Stevie, I'm looking for this sort of place, and then he goes, oh, funny that, Greg, I was just having a wee cup of tea and I sat down earlier and I saw it. So I'm just putting a wee bit of foliage round about it, setting the scene, just so we can hide that base. So when I looked at the footage beforehand, you can still see the base, and it kind of took away from it a wee bit. Whereas by just kind of dressing it in heather and things that are like quintessentially Scottish, you know, like that heather brush that you find on a forest floor, fallen branches that are all around us just now, it just adds in a level of authenticity to it. If you can see from here, fly that drone real low, just fly it straight through that glow to that glowing sign. That'll be bitchin'.
And are you confident of flying it through there? Having crashed it into a mountain?
Slow, as long as you don't. Well, after crashing it into the side of a mountain.
Yes.
Let's just say that I'm glad that it is a resilient bugger. Because he's been put through spaces a couple of times. The poor thing could have saw that mountain coming. Neither did I, actually.
So what is the thought process and inspiration behind the scenes that you've picked and the places that you've picked for this shoot?
So basically, we went to Glencoe, and because we had great access to a place that people can't get into, and I would have been allowed a level of peace and quiet that I probably wouldn't have been able to get anywhere else. You know, Glencoe stowed with people all the time. So by going to this wee place that will remain undisclosed, I was able to move this big thing around, plus take my time and compose the shots. I was there for 3 days. Compose the shots so that it didn't feel rushed, but because of the landscape, it was mountains, rivers, waterfalls, lochs, quite barren open spaces. But because we were trying to celebrate the best of Scotland and all things Scotland, you couldn't do that without dense woodland, or woodland at all. And I know this is probably all man-made. This is probably man-made.
Quite possibly, looks like it.
However, there is a wee bit of forest across the road there that's the trees are so tight together that I wouldn't have been able to see the sign. So again, it's all happy medium stuff. And ultimately, when it gets a bit darker, you'll start getting that icy glow from this sign. It really leans into that atmosphere that Scotland's famous for. See the amount of times I've shot things where I'm just like, looks like in the middle of nowhere and the road's there. Just like reversed my van out, opened up. Right, so now because that light's on, that light's there, it's just casting a wee rim light on the outside of that tree. And you'll see if you come round here, that when I change angle, you can see the same thing on that tree. There's a rim light on there. It just means that it's not blocked it, it's not just like this dark shadow. That's us finished that wee section tonight. It all went really well, apart from me crashing my drone, clean into a tree / sign and snapping off one of the propellers. But it is the risk you take when you're the top gun of the forests. So I pack up, go home, look through this stuff, and I'll be back at it first thing Friday morning. Joe's shots throwing it again. Me and him are entering into the big smoke to take the sign up onto Calton Hill for that big view over a sun rising down Princess Street in Edinburgh.
I loved the way these images came out. The burst of colour through the trees from the sky against the vibrant forest green works really well. Using artificial lighting to highlight the edges of the trees gives the images real depth.
I wanted atmospheric.
Yep. Oh, Lambo.
Oh, I missed the Lambo.
Where you're going's up there. Oh, so we are at the top of Calton Hill. It's just after, I think it's just after 3:30 in the morning. You can see sort of columns in behind me. And basically what we're doing is we're up here to shoot 3 different locations. So the first one being in front of those columns with the Bonnie and Wild sign coming through in the foreground. Then I want to bring it over to where we are going just now and try and get an angle where we can get all Edinburgh and the castle, bit of Princess Street, all of that good stuff. And because the sun is rising here, hopefully we get this sort of leaking light just over the top of the city and it'll be beautiful. And then the other thing is I want to get a shot here of, this is dodgy, I want to get a shot of this St James Centre, which is just in front of me here, and you'll see all that lit up. You see it right there. So that is where Bonnie and Wild is. So I'm thinking if we can somehow put the sign here where we can get a good view of it, then we will be laughing. So it's now a bit of a waiting game. I'm just waiting for the sun to just come up a wee bit more so that those columns start getting kissed with a wee bit of sunlight. And it means then that
you're creating a bit of distance and a bit more, it makes the whole thing look a bit more dynamic because it adds a shape, because just now it looks fairly two-dimensional. But in the meantime, Joe and I are going to take in this lovely view of the Firth of Forth. Look at that sky, that is just insanely beautiful. So Joe, first time at Carlton Hill, what's your thoughts, mate?
You know, like, all the times I've been to Edinburgh, like, I've been here countless times. I used to live here, and I've never been up here.
You used to live here?
I used to live here, right? When I was up here. But I come up here like, this time in the morning. I think I picked the perfect time, perfect day for it.
See, I've got the sign here, it's not lit up just now. But basically, you get the St James Centre on the back and it's that kind of golden colour. Because I've got the 70 for 200 on, when we use the 70 for 200 it brings the background, it makes it a lot more prominent. Rather than shooting like a 50mm or a 24, where it would be tiny in the frame. I'm done, mate. Yeah, boy, give me some heat.
The images from the shoot in Edinburgh were incredible. I was able to capture the sign in multiple locations as the sun slowly crept over the horizon. Here are a few of my favourites.
That was worth it. It was worth getting up at that time of the morning to get there. We got everything that we needed. So we get the shot of those pillars with the sun coming through the back. We get a shot of Edinburgh just as dawn's kind of creeping in with the sign in the foreground, and even a really unexpected but very, very good photograph where you can see the Bonnie and Wild sign in the St James Centre in behind it. So that is the last work we're going to do with the sign. The sign will now be retired to the window of Bonnie and Wild, I believe, John. So you can do it, say anytime you're in Edinburgh, you'll look up and you'll see the sign there and go, you know, like, we've been through some things, that sign and me.
Yep.
It's been smashed with drones.
Yep.
It's been on waterfalls.
Yep.
It's been in glens. It's been in forests. It's been up at the crack of dawn, looking down in Edinburgh. It's been a bit, that sign. Been some good times. So back home, get a couple of hours sleep, because on Sunday, final bit of the shoot is all the food stuff, and then we're into the edit.
The final day of shooting took place at Bonnie and Wild, where I captured the hustle and bustle of the restaurant, along with each kitchen preparing the dishes they are famous for. The fast-paced style of filming here was designed to contrast sharply with the slow, atmospheric shots I'd captured of the sign across the Scottish Highlands, creating a deliberate juxtaposition between energy and stillness. This project has been one of the most challenging and one of the most rewarding I have ever been a part of. To see it come to life on the big screen right in the heart of our nation's capital is something I will always remember. I would like to give a huge thank you to the entire team at Bonnie and Wild for trusting me with this story. So without further ado, here is my film for Bonnie and Wild. This is Into the Wild.